What's behind me is not important.
Hey everybody, my name's Tim. I am an HPD instructor and track day enthusiast. I often get asked questions regarding track day events, which has led me to making this series of videos. What you'll see is a ton of comprehensive information as a collection of tips, tricks, and knowledge I've picked up along the way, as well as from research I've done on HPDE and my instructor training. There are few thrills in life as exciting as driving a track at speed. The number one goal is always good, safe fun. With that said, it's worth mentioning that there are risks inherent with performance driving at the track. Doing your homework beforehand can help mitigate these risks. If you have questions or other helpful tips or disagree with something I've said, please indicate so in the comments below. Whether you're contemplating your first track event or you have been to the track and are now looking to improve your game, hopefully you find this video series informative and it helps your HPD event be successful and fun. This is video 5 in the series of 6. Be sure to watch video 4, the big video, where I cover track day driving, including your hands, car differences, getting on track, situational awareness, looking for outs, flag stations, speed and lap times, straights, anatomy of a corner, corner management, brake fade, brake loss, hand signals, passing, going off track, track incidents, red mist, cool down, between sessions, passengers, late day cautions, night track events, 3-pedal clutch management, and heel toe. In this video, I'll be discussing what to do when coming off track after your last session through post-track day maintenance at home. End of day after last session. Check your brakes and tires. If you're driving your car home, be sure to leave enough brake and tire life to get home safely. It's a good idea to check your tires and brake pads after each session and give them one last thorough check before driving home. Get down low and check for cords on the inside edges of your front tires. It's one thing to use up the last bit of tire or brake pad life and throw your car in the trailer. It's another thing entirely when your car's your ride home. Replace the air you let out of your tires. It's common to lower your tire air pressures throughout the day as the outside air temperature rises. At the end of the day, you'll need to air up your tires before you drive the car home or load the car into the trailer. When you come off track, your tires are warm and the pressures will be on the higher side. As your tires cool down from hot track temps, they will lose pressure. You might scrape offloading out of your trailer when the tire pressures have gone back down once cooled. If you strap your car down in the trailer over the tires, your straps may loosen as your tires cool and the pressures decrease. Also, air your tires back up before driving home. Your drive home will be less aggressive, hopefully, and your tires will continue to cool and lose pressure during your drive. If I come off track after my last session and air my tires back up soon after, I usually set them to about 38 to 40 psi before loading into the trailer. Once cool, they typically go back down to low to mid 30s. Many modern cars, including the GT500, come with a tire inflator in the trunk. This will work, but if you do enough track days, you will want a better system. I use this DeWalt inflator. Driving home. A word of caution, coming from track driving, your sense of speed and chaos is a bit skewed. It's easy to find yourself way over the speed limit on your drive home. Slow down and take it easy. You just survived an amazing day at the track. You don't need an incident on the drive home. Also, if your car has harnesses, don't forget to stuff those behind the seat and buckle up with your seatbelt. Post-track day. Wash the car and remove all melted rubber bits from your grills and inside your wheels. Griots track spray works well for black melted tire smears on the car. Windex does the same for the glass, but will require more elbow grease. Clean radiators and coolers of pebbles, rocks, and rubber chunks. Check for bent fins and straighten as necessary. Put adjustable aero back to street settings if you street drive your vehicle. I personally leave mine set for track as I do very little street driving with my car. For the GT500 crowd, your aero items are wing on the carbon fiber track pack or gurney flap for the base model, splitter wickers, and rain tray. Remove tow hooks if you so choose. Bottom inspection. I always get my car up on the lift after track days for a good thorough bottom inspection. You can see everything from fluid leaks to exhaust issues, suspension problems, tire issues including rubbing, and just perform a general overall condition check of the bottom. If you don't have a lift, consider something like a quick jack or use jacks and jack stands. Alignment. Do you need to return your alignment to the street numbers or leave your car in track alignment? I leave mine in track alignment, but I do very little street driving with my car. This will depend on your majority use. See video 2 for a deeper alignment discussion. Tire pressures. Set your pressures back to the placarded pressures for your car. Brake pads. Check brake pad health and replace as necessary. Some track goers will have separate track pads from street pads. Swap back to your street pads as necessary. Rotors. Check for excessive heat cracks. For pad transfer buildup, sand or have your rotors turned as necessary. For sanding rotors, see video 2. If you run separate rotors for the track and street, swap back to your street rotors as necessary. Inspect brake caliper dust boots. Brake caliper dust boots can get brittle and develop cracks due to high track brake temps. Replace as necessary. Heavy track goers tend to just live with cracked dust boots or run without them. Dust boots keep debris and moisture out of your caliper pistons. Brake fluid. I typically don't flush post-track day, I flush pre-track day as needed. Deeper discussion. How often to bleed or flush fill your brake fluid? You'll read a lot of opinions here. A car that doesn't see track time can survive with the original brake fluid for a long time. On the other end of the spectrum will be a heavy, high horsepower car with monster brakes, running racing brake fluid that gets taken to the track often. Some might say change your fluid every 90 days on a track car. I tend to change mine based on events. When I go to Cota or Road America, both which have long straights with high speeds and intense braking zones, I bleed the brakes after 2 track days. I might go a handful of track days at other tracks. I typically just bleed 1 bottle into the system, getting fresh fluid to the calipers. But once in a while I'll flush 2 bottles into the system to do more of a system replacement. Your brake pedal will talk to you. If it feels like it's getting soft on track days, bleed your brakes more often and or upgrade your brake fluid to a higher temp fluid. Oil change. I change mine after 2 days at big high-speed tracks like Cota and Road America where I spend a lot of time standing on the throttle, and after 3 to 4 days at smaller tracks that are easier on the car. Diff fluid change. The GT500 owner's manual calls for it to be changed every 500 track miles. Items list. Make a list of things needed like tires, brake pads, brake fluid, engine oil, filters, etc. and get those items ordered. It sucks when you miss an event because you are waiting on something like brakes or tires. Study, drive, study. If you recorded your sessions on video, watch your videos and look for opportunities for improvement. You might see early turn-ins, coasting, or delayed throttle applications on corner exit. Watching your videos soon after your track day while still fresh in your memory will help you improve your game. The next video has tips on capturing your track days on video. Another thing you can do is network with people driving the same or similar cars at the tracks you attend and inquire about their lap times. You will see how you compare to your peers. Lastly, if you had an instructor, hopefully you got some feedback on things to work on. If you didn't, ask. Take some notes and work on those items next time. Frequency of track days. If you want to get better at your craft, you need to do it semi-frequently. I have coached students who have had months or even years since their last track event. It's a use or lose skill set. You can have a great day at the track making good progress. If you then take 6 months off, you will not retain much of what you just learned. Well, that's it for video 5 in the series. I covered what to do when coming off track after your last session through post-track day maintenance at home. Be sure to check out the last video, video 6, that covers capturing your track day in videos that don't suck. Remember, if you have other tips, tricks, hacks, or disagree with something I've said, please contribute and add it to the comments below. Thanks for watching and have fun at the track.